Have you ever, really stopped to think about the power that might be buzzing away inside your own head?
It's a big question.
Yeah, what if this whole universe, the stars, the chair you're sitting on, what if it's not as solid as it looks?
What if it's responding to us, like a mirror?
Exactly, like a giant mirror reflecting our thoughts, our consciousness. Sounds a bit out there, I know.
Well, think about those studies, the ones looking at intention. People in one room focusing, say, love or gratitude.
And sensors in another room pick up changes, even through walls.
Subtle shifts, yeah. And we know the heart's electromagnetic field is real. It extends out several feet. We're basically emotional broadcasters.
So if love can get through walls, what else can our thoughts do? I mean, it feels like science fiction, but...
But maybe quantum physics is catching up to ancient ideas. That's the fascinating part.
Okay, but here's the kicker. If this is real, if our minds have this, incredible potential to shape things, why isn't it taught everywhere?
Right. Why isn't this front page news? Why isn't it in basic school curriculums?
Could there be, reasons, people or groups who'd rather we didn't know to kind of keep things as they are, keep the power?
It's a question worth asking, definitely.
Well, welcome back to The Deep Dive. This is kind of our ongoing mission, right? Exploring reality itself.
Yeah. If you've been with us looking into UFOs or astral planes or connecting Jung and Einstein with Buddhist thought,
then you're definitely in the right place today. Because we're diving deep. We want to connect the dots.
The dots between those weird subatomic particles, ancient spiritual teachings,
and this really radical idea that you are actually helping create your reality, not just watching it.
What if something like The Matrix wasn't just a movie?
Whoa. Okay, yeah. Philosophers talk about simulation theory, Nick Bostrom, and all that.
But maybe it's simpler. Maybe your own mind is already running the simulation you call reality. Your brain interprets the world. It doesn't just record it.
So, who's controlling the interpretation? That's the question.
Maybe you don't need to escape the Matrix. Maybe you just need to remember you're the one writing the code.
And yeah, we have to ask, who benefits if you believe you're small, insignificant, powerless? So are you ready to push the boundaries of your own reality? Are you prepared for a quantum truth that maybe some forces would rather you didn't stumble upon?
It's a big journey we're starting.
It is. Watch the video until the end and you will be surprised.
So to really get a grip on how consciousness might be tied into the universe, we need to go small, really small, down to the subatomic level.
Okay, quantum physics territory.
Exactly. Because down there, reality gets seriously weird and way more connected than we usually think. The classic example everyone talks about is the double slit experiment.
Yes, the famous one. It's kind of fundamental to all this, isn't it?
It really is. So basically you fire tiny particles, like electrons, at a wall with two slits in it.
Okay, like preeny bullets. You'd expect two lines on the screen behind the wall where they hit, right? Through one slit or the other.
That's the logical expectation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is what happens. But here's the twist. If nobody is watching or measuring which slit the electron goes through, it doesn't act like a particle anymore.
It doesn't. What does it do?
It acts like a wave. It seems to go through both slits at the same time.
Both?
Like ripples on a pond.
Yeah.
And it creates an interference pattern on the screen behind, those alternating bright and dark bands. It's as if the electron is exploring all possibilities at once.
Wow. Okay, so unobserved, it's like a wave of potential.
Precisely. And this is the mind-bending part, the moment you put a detector there to see which slit it actually used.
Let me guess. It snaps back to being a particle.
You got it. The wave pattern vanishes. You just get the two lines again, as if it chose a path only because it was measured.
So the act of observing changes the reality.
That's what it looks like. It's called the observer effect. And it made physicists like John Archibald Wheeler think really deeply.
Wheeler, yeah. Didn't he talk about a participatory universe?
He did. He suggested that maybe consciousness isn't just a passive observer, but somehow actively participates in bringing reality into being from all those quantum possibilities.
Sure.
Like the universe needs us to look at it to become definite.
That is a massive idea. Our looking actually makes things real.
It's a profound implication, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the weirdness doesn't stop there. Some research even hints that time might not be the strict linear thing we experience.
Uh-oh, now you're messing with time too.
Well, in the quantum world, things can happen that seem to ignore normal cause and effect chronology. Decisions made now affecting the past. Sort of.
Okay, hold on. Like intuition or deja vu? Could that be related? Like a quantum echo or a glitch in the matrix?
Who knows? It opens up those questions, doesn't it? Maybe time is more like the stage setting and consciousness is the whole play unfolding on it.
I like that metaphor. Consciousness is the stage. So where does Einstein fit into this quantum weirdness? You mentioned him.
Right, Einstein. He wasn't entirely comfortable with quantum mechanics, but he pointed out something else really strange. Quantum entanglement.
Ugh, the spooky action at a distance.
That's the one. You can link two particles, say photons or electrons. they become entangled. Then you separate them, even by light years.
And what happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter the distance.
Instantly. Measure a property of one, like its spin, and you instantly know the spin of the other one. It's like they're still connected by some invisible thread that ignores space.
Okay, that's genuinely spooky. Instant connection across the universe.
So let's recap for a second. Particles changing when washed. Instant connections. A universe responding to attention. Does any of this start to sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds a lot like what you hear in like ancient philosophies or spiritual traditions.
Exactly. That idea of everything is one, the interconnectedness of all things, the power of the mind or spirit.
Suddenly doesn't sound so metaphorical, does it? It sounds almost scientific.
It's like cutting-edge physics is accidentally building a bridge back to ancient wisdom. Maybe consciousness isn't just something the brain does. Maybe it's fundamental to reality itself.
And people have tried to use this connection, right? I remember reading about CIA projects.
You're likely thinking of Project Stargate back in the 70s.
Yeah, remote viewing, wasn't it? People trying to see distant locations just with their minds.
That's right. Training individuals to mentally perceive hidden military targets, things like that. And apparently, they had some surprising successes.
So if the CIA was taking it seriously enough to run a program, maybe it's more than just imagination.
It certainly raises questions. If the mind can potentially cross space like that, could it also influence what happens in that space?
That's a heavy thought, and it brings us back to that earlier question. If science hints at this, if governments explored it, why isn't this common knowledge?
Which leads us perfectly into exploring where else we find maps of this kind of reality in the wisdom traditions.
Right. If quantum physics is like a new map showing interconnectedness and the observer effect, maybe ancient spirituality had older maps of the same territory.
Exactly. Take Buddhism, for instance. For thousands of years, they've talked about Maya illusion.
Not that nothing exists, right? But that our perception is limited, filtered.
Precisely. That our minds, with all our thoughts, desires, fears, they actually construct the reality we experience. Our perception isn't pure, it's colored by the mind. Doesn't that sound a bit like the observer effect, collapsing possibilities?
It really does. Our mind as the projector, almost. Wow.
Or look at Vedanta from Hinduism. They talk about Brahman, the ultimate reality, pure consciousness, the source of everything.
Okay.
And then they talk about Atman, the individual soul, our consciousness. And the core teaching is Tat Tvam Asi.
Which means?
Thou art that. You, your individual consciousness, are not separate from Brahman, the universal consciousness. You are that.
So individual drops in a cosmic ocean of consciousness that echoes that quantum entanglement idea, the deep connection.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And these aren't just ideas to ponder. These traditions offer practices, meditation, mindfulness, ways to directly experience these truths.
Which brings us to things like near-death experiences, right? Those have always been deeply mysterious.
Very much so. People report experiences while clinically dead, seeing things in other rooms, hearing conversations, knowing things they couldn't possibly know physically.
And science tries to explain it with brain chemistry, lack of oxygen.
Yes, and those factors might play a role, but the accounts often seem to go beyond what that can easily explain. It raises the question, does consciousness temporarily detach from the body?
Which leads to the ultimate question. If you're not just your body, who or what are you?
Meditation is one way to explore that. Training the mind to quiet down, to go beyond the ego chatter, and connect with that deeper awareness, that field of potential.
And things like astral projection, we talked about that in the Project Astral Flow Dive.
Exactly. Seen by many as a way to consciously navigate other levels of reality, using consciousness itself, exploring beyond the physical.
What about intuition, or people who channel information? Could that be tapping into a larger field?
It could be interpreted that way, yes.
Yeah.
Accessing information from a collective field, a universal mind, which sounds a lot like
Carl Jung, his collective unconscious, that shared pool of human experience, archetypes.
Precisely. Even Nikola Tesla, a hard-nosed electrical engineer, talked about a core or nucleus we get knowledge and inspiration from, and believed in a fundamental cosmic energy linked to consciousness.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the practical takeaway for someone listening right now? Does meditating or setting an intention actually do something based on all this?
That's the implication. When you meditate, focus your intention clearly, choose love over fear. Maybe you're not just thinking positively, maybe you're engaging with the very process physicists see in labs.
Choosing which possibility becomes real, like the observer effect.
Exactly. You're using your consciousness to interact with the energy field. Ancient wisdom might have been, in part, an operating manual for reality.
So for you listening, are there practices you use? Meditation, yoga, time in nature, prayer, anything that helps you feel connected to something bigger, to that inner power? We'd love it if you shared in the comments. Let's learn from each other.
Yeah, definitely share. And actually, speaking of sharing, Now seems like a good time for some good news.
Good news, okay.
If you're finding this deep dive interesting, if you like this video and maybe drop a comment, YouTube's algorithms actually notice.
So engaging helps the channel and tells YouTube you want more stuff like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It helps YouTube understand your taste and recommends similar explorations into consciousness, reality, all these fascinating topics.
So, folk, if you're enjoying this, please do hit subscribe. Maybe share this video with someone who'd find it interesting. It really helps us keep these conversations going.
Definitely. Okay, so we've seen the science, the spirituality, but that brings us back to that nagging question.
Right. If consciousness is so fundamental, potentially so powerful, why the silence? Why isn't this common knowledge? It feels like we should be shouting this from the rooftops.
It does feel that way. And then you look at where the resources go. Trillions spent on surveillance, secret military tech, black projects.
Things that, frankly, sometimes sound like they defy known physics, especially when you look into UAPs.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the power that supposedly resides within each person gets labeled woo-woo or new age. It's a strange contrast.
And you hear stories, right? Whistleblowers, insiders, people claiming knowledge of suppressed tech, a different understanding of physics, energy.
Often linked to consciousness, yes. Figures like that Jake Barber we mentioned before. These accounts hint that maybe the secrets about advanced craft and the secrets about our own potential are intertwined.
Because knowledge is power. Is that the bottom line?
It often is. And knowledge about the power of consciousness, well, that could be the ultimate power. Imagine if everyone truly woke up to their ability to shape reality, to connect directly.
Power structures would crumble, wouldn't they? Systems built on making us feel small and separate.
Economic systems based on scarcity might look very different if we tapped into an inner source of abundance. Control based on fear wouldn't work so well if we realized our unity.
So controlling the story about what's real, keeping consciousness limited, that's a powerful form of control itself.
It could be seen that way. Keeping people focused only on the material, distracted, feeling powerless. It maintains the status quo very effectively.
It's a pretty chilling thought, but it does make a certain kind of sense when you look around.
Now, are we saying there's definitive proof? A smoking gun document? No. Secrecy works.
But the pieces are there, the quantum hints, the ancient wisdom, the strange phenomena, the whistleblower whispers.
Exactly. The convergence is suggestive. It points towards a bigger picture regarding consciousness, one whose power might be deliberately obscured because it's disruptive.
So maybe the question isn't if consciousness has power anymore.
But rather, are you, listening right now, willing to start claiming that power, regardless of who might want to keep it hidden?
Okay, that's the big challenge then. So how do we actually do that? How do we go from theory to practice?
Right. We've talked a lot about big ideas, quantum physics, ancient wisdom, potential conspiracies. But the real juice is that this power, this connection, it's not something you need permission for. It's already yours.
It's already inside us. So how do we tap into it consciously? Does it require like years of training?
Not necessarily to start. It doesn't have to be complex. You can begin right now with a simple practice. Think of it as combining focus, intention, and connecting to that quantum field we talked about.
Okay, I'm listening. What do we call it?
Let's call it activating quantum consciousness. Just a way to start feeling and directing your own creative energy.
Activating quantum consciousness. I like it. What are the steps?
Step 1, find your center. Pretty simple. Just sit or lie down somewhere quiet for a few minutes. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. Let go of tension. Just feel yourself here now. Anchor yourself in the present.
Okay, get grounded. Got it.
Step 2, breathe the connection.
Yeah.
Keep breathing deeply, consciously. But now imagine you're breathing in more than just air. Imagine pulling in universal energy, that quantum potential, with each inhale.
And breathing out.
Anything that doesn't serve you, stress, doubt, whatever, just release it. Feel that breath connecting you to everything.
All right, breathing in energy, breathing out junk. Makes sense.
Step 3, visualize your inner light. Now focus on your heart area, center of your chest. Imagine a tiny spark of light there, white, gold, whatever feels right.
A spark.
And with each breath, see that spark getting brighter, bigger, expanding gently, filling your chest, then your whole body, then radiating out from you.
Radiating out, like connecting with the space around me.
Exactly. Connecting with the room, the planet, the stars, the whole quantum field. Feel that connection. Know that you are that light.
Feel the connection. Be the light.
Okay. Step 4, affirm your reality. While holding that feeling, just silently or gently aloud, repeat an affirmation. Something like, my consciousness creates my reality.
My consciousness creates my reality.
Yeah, say it with feeling like you mean it. Repeat it a few times. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's aligning with that observer principle. You're stating your role.
Declaring my part in creation. Powerful. Okay, step 5.
Step 5, focus your intention. Now, while you're in that connected, light-filled state, bring a clear, positive intention to mind.
Something specific I want.
Could be anything. more peace, clarity on a problem, sending good vibes to someone. Keep it simple and positive. Don't worry about how it happens. Just feel the emotion of it already being real.
Feel it as if it's already happened.
Exactly. Hold that feeling gently for a minute or two, bathing the intention in that light you visualized. And that's basically it. Open your eyes when you're ready. Try to carry that feeling with you.
Wow, that feels doable. Simple steps, but it sounds like it could be quite profound.
It's a starting point. You've quieted your mind, connected energetically to the field, affirmed your power, and directed it with intention. It blends mindfulness with these quantum and spiritual ideas.
And doing this regularly, even 5 minutes a day,
could make a difference. You might start noticing little synchronicities, insights popping up, subtle shifts, maybe not so subtle shifts. And if you want to explore consciousness further, like navigating other realities, check out our deep dive on Project Astral Flow.
Great suggestion. And folks listening, really want to hear from you on this. Are you going to try this practice? Do you do something similar already?
Yeah, share in the comments. What did you feel? What intentions are you working with? Your experiences really help build this community exploration. Share your insights.
Absolutely. Okay, so what a journey we've taken from deep inside the atom to ancient spiritual height.
And into that unsettling possibility that reality is, well, flexible, interconnected, dependent on us, on our consciousness.
Quantum physics showing observation matters. Spirituality saying we're all connected. It's a powerful convergence.
And that hint of conspiracy, the idea that maybe this knowledge is deliberately kept quiet. It adds another layer.
But the core message cutting through it all seems to be, you're not just a passenger. You're not a victim of circumstance.
You are potentially a co-creator. The eye of the quantum storm, shaping your reality moment by moment.
So the invitation is, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for proof positive from the mainstream. Start exploring.
Use practices like the one we shared. Pay attention to your thoughts, to synchronicities. Question the stories that limit you.
Because the biggest adventure might not be outer space, but inner space. The universe inside your own consciousness.
Well said.
And if this whole exploration resonated with you, if you felt a spark ignite, please help us share it. Like this video, tell the algorithms this matters.
Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. We've got so many more mysteries to explore together. Consciousness, hidden truths, human potential.
Definitely share it with someone you think needs to hear this message, someone ready to step into their power.
And keep the conversation alive in the comments. Your insights are gold. Tell us. How does it feel, really, realizing your consciousness might influence reality?
What practices, spiritual or meditative, do you use already? Let's learn from each other.
And if you could change one thing right now with focused intention, what would it be? How would you feel it manifesting?
Sharing and commenting also tells YouTube you want more of this kind of content, mysteries, potential, awakening, so please engage.
And don't forget, if you want to go deeper into exploring consciousness beyond the body, check out the link in the pinned comment.
And right now, you should see 2 other videos on your screen. Click one of them to continue your journey of discovery. Don't stop here.
Keep exploring. Keep questioning.
Remember, the ultimate key to the universe's greatest secrets. It isn't locked away somewhere. It's looking back at you in the mirror. The key is you.